Hey y'all, welcome to Culture Cult. My name is Marie. I am the host of the show, and this is a podcast where we are on a mission to learn about every country in the world. That way we become less ignorant and we can all learn something about each other. But this is not that kind of episode. We're doing a travel story episode, which is my favorite. And this particular travel story, I have been asking for years from my friend, years. And we just never found the chance to record it. And this is by far top travel story on this podcast. It's the Windmill story. Yes, this is where my best friend Meg, who is this spiritual guru of a person who turns into this like maniac when she drinks or does drugs, and she turns into this like, fucking crazy person. And so this is her story of how and she ended up flying around a windmill in Australia. I mean, accidentally flying around a windmill, like not one of the cutesy ones you see in Amsterdam, a real windmill. So it's a fucking crazy story. It's like, honestly, I can't believe she's alive. I cannot believe she's alive. And I bet you she's one of the few, if not the only person that this has ever happened to or has lived to tell the tale. So that's what this episode is. It's my favorite travel story. It's the Windmill story. But in the beginning of this episode, we're really going to talk about how it's really about booking that trip. This is a really good episode for anyone who's scared to travel. They like the idea of it maybe, but they don't like the idea of actually booking the ticket or quitting the job or changing their life a bit to do something scary, to go experience a new culture, a place, maybe even travel alone. And so this is the episode that can hopefully take you to that next step of buying the ticket. With that said, I hope y'all enjoy this crazy fucking story. Okay, your first question, Maggie Moosh, what is a job you would be terrible at?
Oh, Lord. At the office. I was terrible. I worked in the office once and it was the worst thing I've ever done. And it was actually the chillest office job I ever had because it was just a bunch of backpackers and we're doing cold calls and everybody, like Jade was literally walking on her hands, doing a handstand through the office. You know,
it's not an office job.
No, but it was. We were in the proper office. But yeah, this was not for me.
You were like in the chillest office there is, and that wasn't for you. So you can imagine being in a real fucking office, like no handstands.
Hey, no, they were doing TikToks and things like we were not really overlooked, to say the least. So we could sit here and chat and talk. And I just hated sitting at a chair and looking at a computer all day.
Yeah.
Looking outside, I'm like, I'm supposed to be out there. What am I doing here?
No, I think that is like something people need to realize is like what kind of work suits you.
Definitely. I need to be active, like moving in my work.
Yeah. So I said, I've already mentioned this on a different episode, but a couple things I'd be terrible at. I would be a horrible pilot. Lots of buttons. I have ADD.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be too distracted to fly a plane.
Not to mention, you have to be extremely detailed. Did you know that when you're taking off, you have to calculate things and put it in a computer, and the computer is actually taking off the plane? You're not actually moving the plane that much.
So I hope it's super technical and detailed because they're flying us out. I don't know however high.
If you messed up a few details, you could create a disaster from a few details. Like, what?
Better be detailed. I go on too many planes to think of it not being detailed.
Dude, I was saying, me, pilot, no. Also, a job I'd be terrible at, grocery bagger. Like, what if they pay before I bag everything and then like the eggs got to go a different place than the fruit?
Oh, well, that's okay. Nobody's at a rush. If they're in a rush, tell them to chill out.
Oh, okay.
Maybe in the States, I don't know, like you're just bagging the groceries, be like, give me 5, please.
I'd be like, why do you need 5 minutes?
Like, because there is a strategy to this, actually.
I know.
The proportioning out. Actually, no, I don't think I'd be good at this job either because, well, I like to not waste bags. So I put too much in the bags and then they end up, I'm like, you can just do this with one. It's fine. And it's too heavy and they rip. It's like, okay, I probably should have just done another bag.
Yeah. Respect to any grocery bagger pilots and office peeps out there. Y'all keep doing it.
Y'all got it. It's not for these girls.
Okay, your next question is, where has been the place with the most culture shock for you?
Cuba.
Mm. Why?
because it went back into like the 1950s. All the cars, all the architecture, like, yeah, it was super cool. Cobblestone streets. And also, like, this was kind of like before I'd done a lot of international travel, and I went with my parents. And yeah, just like some of the information that they were saying, they had just opened up to Americans coming over because we were some of the first people who could after we
Wow.
couldn't. And so, yeah, it was a weird energy. Also, like we went from a cruise ship, so and I went with my parents. I think that's all I have to say. Like, it was just like planned out. But yeah, it was a pretty big culture shock. And the food, I don't know if like it was not good. I don't think I got the traditional Cuban cuisine. If I
Hmm.
did, I don't know. I wasn't so. I think I need to go back because my friend Shelly, she lived there for a little bit
Wow.
and she loved it. She absolutely loved it. But initially, that would be my first answer. I think it's Cuba because it was just like a time travel.
Yeah. I forgot you went to Cuba. Because it's not
Mm,
like, oh, just you see a couple 50s cars where it's like a convention
no,
where everyone dresses up or something. It's like the entire country is truly back in time.
yes, and it was so drastic, and I won't ever forget that I had to pay to go to the bathroom, and I was shooketh. Like, I was like, "What? I have to pee? Do you want me to pee here on the street? I don't have any money with me." And I was like, "No, this is insane." But, whatever.
I feel like as Americans, that's the thing that consistently shocks me, actually, still when I travel, is I'm like ready to go to the bathroom and they're like, oh, you need to pay. I'm like,
Yes, I mean,
what
this happens
is
in
the
any country too.
alternative? You want me to shit my pants in front of you? Or are you gonna let me in? Like I feel threatened. I'm not gonna lie, I feel fucking threatened. Like that's a basic necessary thing that needs to happen. And you're
But
and then
guys,
they
you
make you
really
pay for
don't have it.
toilet paper. That's the crazy part. Some places are like,
Traveling, you better bring it with you.
I just no for real. And it's like that shitty toilet paper. I just still blows my mind going places like and they
Yeah.
make you pay.
No, it's insane because like sometimes you really are in a predicament like where you don't have money, and it's like I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
I will pee on myself right here. I don't mind.
I know. I know. That's like consistently a shock for me everywhere I go. That's weirdly a luxury is to go to just walk into a bathroom.
You're right. And access to water.
Mm.
That's a
Hmm.
huge one. Like I think slips a lot of Westerners' minds that
Yes.
like even the people in the countries that are natively from there like don't always have access to water either. So that is a luxury, and that's a blessing to have. Even simple as like coming to Australia, like there's just like so many subtle differences. You get that I feel like any place you go. It's like taking you out of what you're used to and these things that you don't even think about on a
Hmm.
day-to-day basis. And then it can just be the slightest little change. And I think that's the fun part about traveling as well, is getting to see other ways of living and experiencing life. It's
Hmm.
not, you get stuck in your own little bubble until you're taken out of it.
Yeah, exactly. You think the whole world's like that because you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
So, what was the moment you realized you loved to travel? How are you a different person and traveler since you first started?
I'm so different. Um, when I first realized when we went on our road trip that I
Hmm.
got to experience this freedom that I had been longing for. Honestly, like there was no place to be, nothing to do. We got to choose, and it was with my best friends, and we're just like seeing so many new things in our own country as well. Like, wow. Yeah, it was just, I was like, I want to do this and I want this feeling to stay with me forever, like the shit from real life.
For real.
I want to see the world, you know? So I would say then it was after we graduated college and moved you out to California.
I love
Um,
that trip. That's always been one of my favorite trips.
well, my mind is definitely expanded. It's not trapped in the only way of living is this, where you graduate, get a job, get married, have kids. It's not stuck in this same little routine. My mind has expanded to see the different ways of living life and really like the thought of getting to choose my life. And I can make it work. I showed myself courage and bravery, putting myself in different situations where I knew no one. Moved across the furthest place that you can possibly go from the United States. I moved to Australia knowing no one. And I rock up in the airport. I'm like, what have I just done? Where am I at? I don't know anybody. I don't know where to go. But I did it. I did it. I showed myself that I could. And I continue to surprise myself like with navigating through life situations because when I'm in a more comfortable situation, I don't push myself as hard.
Mm-hmm.
You get stuck in this, oh, somebody will take, if you're with your family or friends, like it's just kind of like the hamster wheel thing. You don't really think to get outside of your box as much. But when you're traveling, that becomes the normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes you realize different parts of yourself because you're actually being challenged. So
And learning
many.
how to navigate and my communication skills as well, like learning to talk with different cultures and connect with people in such a different way.
Mm-hmm. And when you're traveling and you don't know the language, all you have is your energy. All you have is your
Mm.
energy when you don't have communication, like verbal communication.
And gesture.
And you can somehow you're making great friends. If
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing like when I was in Italy last year, I was in this tiny, tiny little village, and everyone in the village, if they did speak English, were like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "I don't know." I just picked a random village, which I do that often. I just pick a random spot, and they're like, "Okay," because they didn't have any tourists visit there. So they really just spoke Italian, and I made friends with every single fucking person in that town because every day I'd walk into each of their shops, and we would just wave and smile and laugh, but we weren't saying anything. The energy was just so good. And not to mention, there was one spot they gave me free wine and dessert every night. That's also because I tipped. I tip good. But they love me. And so I just feel like when you're traveling, you don't have to worry about the language part. As long as you have good energy, you can get by. People can read that shit. They can read that shit more than you saying hello in their language, you know?
You realize that like people are just trying to do the same thing. They're just trying to live, and try to create this life and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, be happy. And I like to
Yeah.
go to like little places,
Random
where it's
towns.
like, yeah, where am I at? How did I end up here? I don't know, but I'm here.
Yeah, and they're like, why are you here?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
fun question. When they like you surprise them because you're literally the only tourist they've seen in like months.
I did that and I got invited to a traditional Balinese ceremony, like within their,
Wow.
yeah, we picked this random spot, like we're in the middle of Bali, like where tourists don't really go. And yeah, we got invited. It was really, really cool.
Wow.
There was one person, so the person it was for the ceremony, he so happened to speak English, the only person who really did. So he got to explain the whole thing as well because he was off living in Germany and he came back for the ceremony with his family and
Wow.
yeah, it was a super cool experience. So you
That's
never
so
know what you can kind of get into, like if you open yourself up to things like this.
exactly. What has been one of your hardest moments in travel? And what's been one of your favorite moments?
The thing that keeps coming to my head, and I think that they can both actually tie in together, it is at the very beginning stages of going somewhere when I did move over here in Australia. And it was that moment of like, I sat in the airport for 2 hours and just cried because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a place to stay either. Like I hadn't booked anything. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know. And it's going through that initial change, right? Like you've made the decision, it sounds all great, but then when you get, when you're doing the thing, it's actually terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like having to transition your life. And there's this period of like adjusting one to the time difference, two to like this new reality and actually what you want to create, where you're going. And so I think those are the biggest challenge, but that's why I say they kind of tie in together because over time they end up being the best.
Mm-hmm.
The best, another thing is when during COVID, I moved from Melbourne to Byron Bay and I got to experience Byron Bay for what it truly is. There was no tourists, there was no, anything. Just the land itself is such a high energy vibrational
Mm.
place. And so I got to experience that for like what it was. And my family that I created here, I've never been so happy in my entire life. And I held on to that for the longest time, actually,
Mm.
which hindered my growth a little bit because like I was chasing this feeling that I had in a moment of time and wanting things to go back to that. But
Oh, damn. Yeah.
that's also a really good reminder of like, I can appreciate what that time was and hold it so, so close to my heart, but realizing that was for then, like I can't recreate that exact time again. And that was really hard to
I'm
overcome
going through
because
that right
I was
now.
facing that for ages.
I'm going through that right now as you're speaking.
Yeah, like nothing in life is stays the same. That's the one thing you can guarantee is change is always inevitable within yourself,
Good or
within
bad.
so but that was probably the best time of my life. Like I was exploring, we were creating, I was learning slackline, I was getting into meditation, we were doing a lot of acid and partying on the beach and yeah, having these group fires at night. And there was a lot of islanders from Vanuatu that were working on the blueberry farms, and they would come and make these like, I'm talking about big. It was like a ceremonial fire. We're like, this is never allowed in Barbe as well. But like the time itself, nobody was there, like
Hmm.
so we could do this. And it was the first time we cooked a dinner over the fire. It was just yeah, it was special. We'd bring out the DJs, be partying all night. It was a good time.
Damn. That's like my perfect day.
It was a perfect 2 months.
Yeah.
It was just consistently like this, like
Yeah.
I was learning soccer, me and Jay were doing acro yoga. We really got to, because nobody could work, nothing was open. So like we got to explore all these things
Yes.
that we wanted to do. And there was like all these people from all over the world bringing together what they had to offer. And yeah, it was a very explorative, fun, loving, so much love was shared between all these people. Like, oh, my heart. It was so special. So, so special.
I'm in that moment because I'm in this withdrawal phase of leaving California and my friends. I'm in a very weird, funky phase right now. Not knowing where to be in the world, not knowing what my next community is. Like, what advice do you have to me? Where it's like, damn, like, how do you not hold on to that? Or like, will that not happen again in a different way? Like, it has to.
So I think yes and no, like those two things can both exist. Like I think you can recreate a community and the life that you want to live, but at the same time, like that was at that time.
Hmm.
You lived there and you can't recreate all these moments but you can appreciate. You can just come at that with gratitude that you got to experience such a special time in your life and that you were super happy. And you can take bits and pieces from that, I think, but you can't recreate moments that'll like the energy and where you were all at because like I said, it's consistent change, I don't think you can recreate, no. But you
Okay.
can take qualities and aspects and
Yeah,
things that you love from it and recreate that somewhere.
that's true. I think that's a really, really good answer. Really beautiful answer. To anyone who's had like a beautiful, beautiful time in their life. And it's like beautiful times will happen again, you know? Um,
I feel like a lot of people hold on to this. Like, okay,
mm,
think about it in the States, for
your college
instance.
years. People, that's what people
Yes.
hang on.
People hold on to like their high school or college years. What is the main commonality of that? Freedom. Because you're not going into that whole responsibility stage
Mm-hmm.
yet.
Mm-hmm.
Your responsibility is college, but you get through it and it's like fun, it's partying. You don't really have true responsibility yet. And that is what I've been chasing my whole life and will continue to always chase. Freedom is the most
Yep.
important
Same,
thing
same.
to everybody else, but they push that down.
Yeah.
They're like, there's no other way.
Yeah. But I think they're travelers. We refuse to let that be pushed down. We want our life to be full of freedom and adventure.
Yep.
So it's like, I think that's what separates us and why we can sometimes feel very alienated from people who are also not traveling or people who don't prioritize freedom, you know? Like we feel a little bit alienating if you're not around other people who are like, yes, bitch, I get it. I get why you want to go on like a 4-month road trip in the middle of Alaska.
Yeah,
Like,
no, oftentimes you're met with like, what? You're fucking crazy.
yeah. What do you have to say to anyone who thinks they want to travel, but they're letting the responsibilities, the job, the money, the even kids like holding them back, which is a very loaded question because everyone's life is very, very different. But on a basic level, let's say someone is genuinely using that as an excuse and not that it's actually holding them back. What do you have to say to that person?
I think you just said it. It's an excuse. And not to say that they're not valid. It's a scary thing, but like we're faced every day with choices. And I've always said this to you, is choose your hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like either way is hard. Life is hard, but we get to choose what's more important to us. And I didn't really know that any of these things existed. I didn't know that it was possible. I didn't know how to travel.
Mm.
Like at all. I mean, I rocked up with no knowledge of it. But the thing is you can spend your whole life wondering and staying in your head or do it. And you know what? The thought came to my head, kind of what pushed me and made me continue to do it was, okay, I hate it. Say the worst case scenario.
Mm.
Like it's not for me. I feel uncomfortable or whatever the things that are going through your head. I'm scared. I got on that plane. I can just as well go back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like it's an end all or be all. Like you make a decision, you go somewhere and yeah, you just go back to your life if
Yep.
it's really not for you.
100%.
But you can spend your whole life thinking about it or worrying about it,
Mm-hmm.
making excuses of like, oh, staying in the state of wishing or just give it a go.
Yeah. For anyone who's like, maybe he's just never traveled before. It's like, yeah, just try it. It's not to be the biggest trip in the world. Just try something different. Like, let's say you're from like small town Texas and you're like, oh, I just would love, love, love to go to Jamaica or New York or something like more local. And you're just like, just try it. Just try it. It doesn't, you don't have to go all the way around the world. Just try it. And yeah, you can always go back. You can always turn that ass around.
Get back on just as quick as you got on the plane or the car,
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly.
The boat.
When have you ever tried something challenging before? Maybe it was like applying for a job or getting a new job or going after that person that you liked. Like it was probably really, really fucking uncomfortable, but then the best thing probably came from it. Like you've already made a decision like this before in your life. Yeah, like just for
Or
anyone who's like, oh, I'm just too scared to travel. It's like, well, you probably made a decision similar to this already, where it's like going after a job or going after a person that you're interested in. Like you've already done like a scary out of comfort zone thing before and it worked out. Now we got to the point of the podcast. My favorite travel story ever been told. Let's go, bitch. This is my favorite story. I will never not laugh.
Okay, so I'll paint the picture a little bit. We were in this place called Hewiden, Queensland, the outback. There's a whole lot of nothing. It's 5 hours inland from the coast, and yeah, it's just a bit different out in these parts. So I went there to extend my visa. I had to work there for 3 months at this pub. There's only 2 pubs in town, and then like a bakery, a place to get your hair cut,
Okay.
the post office, and like a little clothes shop. This is it. It's like 3 roads. We had a group of backpackers that was about 7 to 9 of us, fluctuating, but consistently. And oh my goodness, the best people. I became the best friends with them, but we just had like the craziest party time. Like, yeah, this is a party stage in my life for sure. Each night we were playing drinking games and we lived in this like little, it's called the backpacker house. And it was this shack of like trailers together. Like it was so fucking, oh, honey. But it lived up to its name. Anyway, so we're all in this like communal place and like we drink every night. We got into a lot of drugs at the time and just did what we could to make this 3 months bearable in the middle of nowhere with nothing else to do. And so the time is coming to an end there, and they have this place is like dinosaur. They have, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. There's a dinosaur museum, or like this little, because they found so many fossils at this place, and
Wow.
they have this like large statue of this dinosaur, like plastic dinosaur, in the middle of the town. Random as fuck, and I'm the picture of me. I'm like hanging on its tail, laying on my belly. It's actually funny, so I can send you that. We all go and we're really drunk and we're taking some MD and we're like, we should go climb the dinosaur and take pictures. It's our last hurrah. So we go do that, and it was a task to get up there in the first place. And Hoda's like literally trying to pull me up by this tail because it's slippery. It's plastic as well. And it's really cold in the outback at night. So like I had on pants and stuff, and I just kept sliding down, and I couldn't actually like climb up to the top of the head. Anyways, we're just having like a good time. We take some photos. And then me and Coda had the grand idea. There's this huge windmill, like massive, massive windmill. It probably the length of a football field standing up. And the
Holy
blades are like
shit.
the blades of the windmill are like 2 lengths of me, which I'm a pretty tall person. Maybe even more. Like it's massive. Coda's like, Megan, you want to go climb the windmill? I was like, fuck yeah. Sounds like a great idea. I'm like pumped up, ready to go. We're climbing shit. I used to love to climb stuff and jump off stuff and do like daredevil things. But anyways, as we're on our journey, all of our other friends are like, fuck y'all, y'all can go up there, like we're not doing that. And in my mind, I have never seen this windmill move. So I thought it was just like this antique thing that like doesn't
Sits there.
move. Just for show.
Yeah.
But a windmill, the point of a windmill is it doesn't shut off. It goes with the wind.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we climb up, and there's like a little platform about the size of just a small little table where me and Coda can only stand on. And we made it up to the blades. And he was like, okay, I'm going to climb to the top of the blade. And how it was positioned, so in the blades, there's like these little, almost like stairs where you can climb on it too, on the back of it.
Okay.
So he climbs up, and he's at the fucking very tip top of the windmill. And I was like, all right, I'm coming.
What?
I was like, okay, I'm on the way. So he's just sitting, chilling. Nothing has
Wow.
moved. It hasn't moved an inch. I get on this thing. And as soon as, all right, so my first foot's on there, my first arm, and I'm going my second arm, and I'm picking my next foot up. And as soon as I lift that last bit of my body, it starts to slowly go and tick down, and Coda just looks down at me and is like, Megan, hold on. I'm like,
You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that.
okay. And also let me keep in mind, I had a fractured wrist at the time. A fractured wrist. It's broken. So he, like I said, he's at the top, and he makes his way down because he's in a sitting position. So on his way down, he jumps off to the platform. But I'm just hanging. Like I have no sense of where I'm at. I'm just hanging solely just with my arms. My legs are off. I'm up at the top, and I'm coming down. And and it is like flinging me around this thing. It's like it's going in circles, and my body is just slamming on the blade. Like I am a flopping fish out of water. Like I'm just getting beat the fuck up. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, Megan, you have got to hold on. If you don't hold on, you fall from here. You're dead.
You're
Like,
dead.
period.
That's
Like there is
it.
no period. And I tell you, adrenaline is a thing because I've never held on to something so tightly in my life with a fracture. I didn't even think about that. I was like, this is it.
That's
This is it.
it.
And Coda is like, this is my third go around of this film. Am I stuck up here forever? And Coda's like, okay, so the next time you come around, I'm going to tell you when to let go.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
I know. And this platform, I'm telling you, is the
Oh.
size that me and him can fit. He's like, I'm going to catch you. And I was like, okay. You can imagine I can't see them. Obviously, I'm just worried about saving my life at this point. But my friends down there are like, fuck, they think they're about to watch me die as well. And maybe the Molly had some help in this. I don't know. Gave me some superpowers. Whatever it was, thank the Lord above. I'm still here to tell the tale. But he tells me to let go, and he catches me. And I'm like, what the fuck has just happened? What happened? Just been flung around on a windmill, and you saved my life. Thank you for catching me. And I get down, and then the pain comes.
Oh.
Like, I look down at my leg, and I can barely walk. I still, to this day, this has been 4 years ago, I think. I still have a permanent dent in my leg from where the blade hit me. Like my muscles will never grow back there,
Oh,
but my leg was already black. Like it was just bruised from top to bottom. Oh my God. My hands were bruised from holding on for so long
holy
and like so tightly.
shit.
Like my palms were also black. It was wild. I was like, I am a superwoman. But we get down to meet my friend. Oh my God, my one friend Emmeline, she was so pissed. She was like, I am not talking to you right now. She's like, I'm leaving. She said, I cannot do this at the time. She scared the shit out of me, bro. But yeah, we ended up going back to our place and we had a beer, played another game, and it was yeah, it was a crazy story. And then I thought like the next day, I'm like, I go look at the windmill. I'm like, I cannot believe I actually just did this. So can you imagine if my parents get a call, Australia? I'm so sorry to tell you, but your daughter did not make it. She fell off of a windmill in Hewitt. That would have been the most. I mean, a cool way to go out, I suppose, but like, what? Like, that is just the most random. Why was she up there? Like, what? Yeah, and it's actually so funny. Coda sends me sometimes, or like after this has happened, he sent me, like the little graham crackers. They have like some are animals or some.
Yeah.
There was a he put my Snapchat emoji hanging off the windmill on the graham cracker. So yeah, a good little reminder. And I think there's a photo actually of us climbing up, so you can somewhat
Oh my
see.
God, I want to get that photo.
Yes, we're not up at the tip top. This
But
is just
the
like the
perspective of it though. Like that is fucking wild. What were you doing while it was turning? Because like you're climbing at the top, so you're like your head is like towards the sky. But then like when it starts to go down, what's happening to your body when it starts to go down?
I'm flying everywhere. Like I'm flinging up against the blades because it's throwing the momentum of the thing. I started off at the bottom. Koda was
Yeah.
at the top,
Okay.
and my weight offset it. So he's coming down, and I'm going up, and everything was fine until then. Until I came to this point, that's when it like threw my body, and then it like going back this way,
Oh,
and I was just like a rag doll up in the air, flinging around.
were you screaming?
I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like
I
I'd be
was doing.
so terrified I wouldn't be screaming. I feel like I would just be like,
I don't think I
gripping.
was. It was life or death.
I just
It was a near death situation. I'm like, you gotta hold on. I don't think I was screaming, to be fair, but I don't know if I was like talking to Coda. Holding on to something. Think about just like going to a
like
pull-up bar.
like monkey bars are hard.
Yes,
That's
and just
hard.
holding on for this was, I don't know, let's just say 5 minutes. The whole thing.
Wow.
Let's say I don't even know if it was that long. I don't know. But holding on to something for 5 minutes, but while being fractured wrist and while being thrown around.
Swung
Like,
around
yes,
on
it
metal.
was.
Just like every time I would hit that point where it start to turn on, my heart would drop because I'd like, fuck, like, am I gonna hang on this time?
Oh no, there was no question in my mind. I was like, you have to hang on. You have to. You have to. Like, you really have to. There's no option unless you're giving up on life.
Yeah, like I'm also just thinking like if someone was like driving by and then just see someone riding a windmill.
God, they didn't because it was like 2 in the morning. This is a very small town. Like everything's
Yeah,
closed.
yeah.
Wait.
I just
And
wouldn't
this
believe my
it's
eyes.
right by the cop station as well. Like,
I just like that story. Whenever I have a bad day, I legit think of that story because I'm just like fucking Meg rode a windmill.
I
You are
did.
one of the extremely few people on this God-given earth that's ever done that. Like,
I don't know. People might have used to do it in the day for back in the day for fun.
dude, I can't believe he caught you.
Yeah, I know. He had to get the timing because like
Perfect.
I'm the momentum as well. Like he had to tell me when to let go at the right time and to catch, and I had to trust because I couldn't see, I couldn't look down, like hopefully he's gonna catch me.
Like legit. Or like my thought is like he catches you, but he goes forward because it's such momentum.
Literally anything. We could have both fallen on.
Yeah. Like it's such
Because
a
I
funny
don't think
story now, but like that is scary as fuck,
it could
dude.
have gone wrong in so many ways, but
My
it didn't.
God. No, it
I'm
didn't.
still
That's what I'm
here for a
saying.
reason
You are one of the few people that's ever ridden a windmill. Like, what the fuck?
and live to tell the tale.
Yes. Okay, I want to know what the fuck y'all think of that story. Like, hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram's at culturecultshow. You can always DM me. I love meeting people. And I just, like, guys, she fucking rode a windmill. Like, I don't know what to say to that. Like, I don't even know how she's alive. Like, if you actually want to see the picture of the windmill, I will have posted it on my Instagram. Again, the Instagram's at culturecultshow. So you can actually see the monster size of this windmill and what she actually fucking rode. It's, I don't even know. This is one of her crazy stories, by the way. She's like broken a car window while drunk. She's fallen off a rock and someone caught her upside down and she would have died. One time, like, rode in a van with a stranger. That was actually scary. And like, he was like a creep and like, that was actually really scary. That's not a fun one to tell. But in general, this is like one of her crazy stories. I'm actually about to go meet up with her in Australia in a month. I'm in Bali right now. I just got here. I just left Thailand. I love Thailand. Just starting my new trip to Bali. And yeah, I'll be meeting up with her in Australia very soon. So we'll probably have our own fucking crazy stories, considering we'll be living out of a caravan in the middle of nowhere in Byron Bay. And there's a bunch of spiders. Fuck. Okay. So yeah, I'm headed to Australia soon to see her. Shout out to any Australian listeners. Fuck yeah. Y'all are always cool. I'm excited to explore your country, your beautiful, beautiful country. I'm excited to do a road trip there. Just super pumped. I also want to last comment on, in the beginning of the story, I was saying how after California, I haven't found a community. And it's kind of nice to be able to record this now, but I did find a community when I was in Portugal. That was the first time in a very long time where I had a big group of friends. We were out every night. Like, I would go into bars. I would see the same people. I'd go down the street. I'd see the same people. Like, it was so refreshing. And it just kind of showed me that I can have that again. But the big thing about that is because I've been traveling slow. So I found a community and I actually started dating someone in both Portugal and in Thailand. I've been able to like just really experience life while traveling because I'm going 2 to 3 months per place. So I think that's why I felt lost my first year as a digital nomad. Very lost, very unhealthy, didn't really love it. I was just traveling to see friends who had their own friends, who had their own dating lives, their own work, and I was just stepping into people's lives. And now with this slow travel, I'm able to create communities, date, see a culture slowly, which has been really, really nice. So it's kind of good after I've recorded this episode a long time ago that I have found that community, specifically in Portugal. I felt that feeling. So that's good. You never know who your future self is. So yeah, I headed to Australia soon. I'm going to check out Bali, see what this is about. And with that said, I hope y'all book the ticket. If it's not even booking the ticket, do something uncomfortable, do something scary. Maybe it's going on a date. Maybe it's, posting that TikTok video of you cooking, or maybe it's going to do an acting class. Like, just do something uncomfortable. It always sucks in the moment or in our heads at first, but then once you do it, it's so much better. I actually was scared to book the trip here to Bali and to Australia because I thought with my work schedule, I won't be able to come over here. But that was all lies. I was just scared. I barely email my clients. I can live anywhere in the world. And I booked the ticket and now I'm in Bali and I'm headed to Australia. So I booked the ticket. I waited for years to come out here thinking it was too far. And now I'm here. It was just a couple plane flights away and I've had an incredible time. So book the ticket, y'all. Do something scary. I believe in you. And don't do what Meg does and climb fucking windmills and almost die. Okay, have a great rest of your evening, day, morning, afternoon, whatever. And I'll see y'all next time. Cheers. Or did you have questions for me? I remember. I forgot you had questions.
Yes. Okay. One just kind of a silly question.
Oh, yes. Okay.
But what do you put? All right. I know you're a yogurt gal. What is your yogurt bowl?
Is this your question?
Yes. What do you put in there?
Ready for something so hard and deep. Love.
Oh, that makes
Okay. That's a good question. What is in my yogurt bowl? Okay. I'm really into Icelandic yogurt lately, or Greek yogurt. Obviously honey, granola, or chia seeds, and then whatever the seasonal fruit is.
Not a hard or is this the
You can,
and sort of.
it's an and. You cannot do an and. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's just a seasonal fruit. And what I mean by seasonal fruit, I mean mainly I am a country like fruit person. So I like the peaches, I like the blueberries, I like the strawberries, I like the raspberries, and I'll do occasionally a pineapple for tropical fruit.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, and honey,
Oh,
local honey, if I can.
honey's the go. I used to not put honey in this, but I do.
Maple syrup sometimes too. That good shit, the good maple syrup. If you don't have honey, you can use maple syrup.
So my yogurt bowl goes a little something like this. You coconut yogurt with chia seeds, hemp seeds,
Mm.
granola that has like dried apricots and dates.
Yum. Oh my God.
Um, then I do, depending on the fruit, but normally like apple, banana, blueberry.
Banana.
Yeah, I love banana. Peanut butter. Peanut butter
Oh
is a
yeah, I
must.
forgot you do that.
Love peanut butter in my yogurt. Um, honey
Mhm.
and cacao pumpkin seeds.
Damn, you just like ran over mine.
So, next question is if you weren't doing what you're doing in this life right now, what would you be doing?
Huh. Part of me, okay, my 15-year-old self would say I want to be America's Next Top Model because I really think I got confused between the fact that I like photography and I like travel and I thought that was modeling, but really those are two different things. So 15-year-old self would say America's Next Top Model. Adult
Okay.
self, if I could do a different life, I would want to be I actually just still want to be this. I want to be like a fucking like techno DJ rock and roll singer. Like we have like a badass band. Like we put on the craziest fucking shows, like high energy, like yeah, yeah, yeah kind of shows and travel that way. And then the other alternative of me, this is really alternative. I have a nice family of adopted kids and we live in like the countryside of like Tennessee and I have like horses.
Okay. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, but like
There's definitely some diversity in that answer. We're going in all directions with that.
I know that's how I feel all the
Model,
time.
rock star band, and family life. All right.
Yeah. I feel like
You know what's
this is
funny is you can combine all three of those things if you want.
model thing's probably out, but the just because you have to be a certain height. But the rock star thing, I still feel like I'm sleeping on myself musically. Like I feel like I really know how to perform and I really like to sing. And I just don't, I just need, I'm calling this in. Meg, help me call this in. I'm looking for a musical partner that wants to just have a
Mm.
fuck around band or calling in like a talented musical person that plays instruments and we just drove crazy cool live shows. Manifest.
Yes, it's
That's
happening.
coming.
Also, this chick, she performed on
Oh,
stage in Thailand.
I think I blacked out.
Tyrone. What
Why?
was this?
Oh my God. Okay.
He went up
What?
in front of like it's a whole night
Oh,
market. And she's playing this sexy ass song, and these Thai
sexy.
people are like after there's I think what
No.
played before that, directly before that, was this
The
little
child.
kid doing
The child.
ABCs. ABCs. And then Marie comes up in there dancing to
Oh, Tyrone.
yeah.
The
But hey, you
slow.
killed it. You killed it.
I have no idea. I probably didn't sing right. Okay, so let me just back this up. This is not a small market, y'all. This was a proper stage with like the big fucking lights and
A
rigs.
whole night market.
A
I don't
huge,
know if
a
y'all know
town, like
Asia, but
a town, like a festival was happening in this night market.
crappy.
Yeah, crabby. Krabi. And yeah, that the person that came before me was a little girl who was like ABCD, and everyone's like,
How do I
woo.
go up after this?
Oh, I
I'm
didn't.
like, you just
She
do it.
wasn't even competition. I was like, we're doing two different things, baby. Like, I'm coming up there, and I was like, I'm gonna sing the sexiest song I know, and I'm over here. I'm like, okay, it wasn't just the normal Tyrone. It was My Morning Jacket's Tyrone, which is a very, very, very slow down, sexy song. And at the end, I was like, Roll Tide.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. I need to see if I can find this
Please don't.
video.
This is just
Yes.
for us.
I'm
But y'all,
gonna
I've
sing
never sang
again.
karaoke in front of like anyone, I think, in my life. And I was like, this is happening now. And I just remember looking at the crowd and just Thai people looking at me. Like, I don't know if they were happy or not, but I'm
Confused a little bit. They're
I
like,
don't
wow,
give a
this is
weird. And we're not speaking the same language. So this just imagine hearing a sexy Thai song being sung to you at a
yeah.
local festival. You'd be like, okay.
No, I think they appreciated it. It was probably it's just different, from
I
what
just
they've been hearing.
I just love
The
to
energy.
perform. I was like, I got to get from the stage. I definitely blacked out. I know I did not sound that good. I just wanted to just.
You really did, actually. I don't know how the hell you did that. Like, my nerves would have been, yeah, you just went
But
up
it's
and
weird. We both have very different like things we'll be brave at. Like you're gonna jump off a fucking cliff rock, and I will never. And I'll go up on fucking stage and sing a sexy song to a bunch of Thai people.
yes, yeah, yeah,
So we
that's
just
something
have
I will.
different things that like we're just like fuck it at. And I
Yeah.
would do that. I would do that shit again. And I would sing Tyrone again. That's a great song.
Well, let's meet back up. And Crabby. She's coming back, folks.